Hair's still wet.
Hello and welcome to Casting Roles, a persistent D&D campaign played by a bunch of theater nerds. Thank you for joining us. Before we begin, just a few brief announcements. If you're enjoying the campaign, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you are really enjoying it, please share it on social media. You can find us on Twitter at Casting Roles and on Facebook at Casting Roles ILM. And there's a one-stop place where you can go get all of our information at our website, castrolls.com. Episodes stream here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and video uploads are available on Friday on YouTube the same week. And with no other announcements, let's go ahead and start the show. So, ticket takers. After a eventful few days at the Monastery of the Four, not the Monastery of the Four Winds, the Monastery of the Third Eye, for the Day of Ascension, a celebration of the god Menagerie, seeing some exciting performances from a band of bards called My Alchemical Romance, a presentation from some changelings about the fall of the original Lightbringer, and a reading from your friend Herman Quayle about a few other things. We ended the Day of Ascension with the revelation of Mars' werewolf form. As the full moon rose and Mar underwent her transformation, she tore off into the woods, and you all, unsure where she had gone, tried to follow to figure out where she disappeared to. Discovering her and some mythical beasts in the forest, you did battle with some former members of the Slaughterers, who were trying to kill one of the mythical wolves, and then they summoned a pack of devils through a portal, which then allowed several devils through, and you managed to close the portal. Returning back to the monastery, you spent a few days of downtime, gaining some new abilities and skills, and then it was the day where the guildmaster, Darkon Cerulean, would be back in Broadfield to fully officiate your guild into the world. Upon his arrival, it was revealed that a few members from Abel's past, his father Ogwan Abioye and his childhood friend the princess Alyria Bellinor, came to visit. And after a day of conversation, you all set plans for your potential future, tying up some loose strings in Broadfield, before finally deciding to head off, as many of the kind of drops of information and threads that you've been putting together were leading you to a mining community of Feldspar. The night after the official ceremony, you were all gathered in the Gilded Ass Tavern. And let's go ahead and see what you're all doing there with Ogwan and Abio and Alyria. You got the Darkon drunk, and so he was carried off to bed. So it's just you all there in the tavern as the night is kind of drawing to a close.
Can I ask, out of character, do you try to memorize that, or is it written down?
That was memorized. And not memorized, that was off the top of my head, because literally I was like, I don't remember everything that you all did, so it'll just come to me when it happens. So I only wrote down ticket takers. So
yes,
remember the name.
We sent Lurch
Tavik.
the fight Tavik. I'm horrible with names. Yeah, and we sent Tavik off to fetch
Menorah.
What's her name?
Yep.
Menorah with the North Cross bun, so that she could serve them the next morning, and promised him. And we invited the town to come into the start visiting the Adventurers Guild Gilded Ass Tavern, starting on the morrow. Which we also let Tavik know that meant people. He was going to likely to get business, and B, he would likely be able to throw drunk people out, which seemed to cheer him up.
Yep.
So.
She's a good day.
Yeah.
So you found my books for me.
Good for her.
Good dog.
The notes are important. All right. anything you all would like to accomplish before the night draws to a close? I remember there 2 weeks ago, before the holiday, you wanted to kind of pick up here, but we can also jump forward to the next morning if you like.
Mark, are you done with
Did we
my
want?
jug?
Sorry, what? What?
Are you done with my jug?
Oh, yes, I've gotten plenty. Thank you.
Yes, give me that.
Okay.
Just to recap, so we've discussed the Felspar mines, and my father Ogowan said he's aware of the latest shipment of quicksilver that's been interrupted, right, from Felspar to the capital.
Yes.
So is after we finish our next mission that will ingratiate us to some of the nobles in the area, that's going to be where we're headed, right?
Yep. We're gonna
Okay.
we're gonna go find the kitty cat.
Okay, all right. So we're going to get some funds, and then we're going to try to get to Felspar, because the quicksilver is probably the source of what's making these little demon portal mechanisms. Okay, all right. I just want to make sure I remember correctly. I think Abel will probably just spend the rest of the evening chatting with his dad, and just recounting the cool things that he's doing out in the world instead of being in school like his mom wants him to be.
All right. So at one table of the Gilded Ass is cleared, and Abel starts putting out all of the little tools and mechanisms that he has developed. And Ogowan is, this is very nice. I like this design. Very. I like the animal imagery that you're using. My son is ignoring me. There you go.
I don't know what to say. I'm very
I like the
appreciative.
giraffe.
Yes, the giraffe is very nice. Yes.
It throws flames.
Does it now? I would recommend not showing in the the wooden tavern, but that's very impressive.
Yes,
It's
my
really
favorite
cool
is
when
the
you don't
elephant.
get hit by it. If you get hit by it, it hurts so much.
I could imagine. Yes.
Working on my tactical skills in battle.
Yes, that was part of the training that I think that you missed out on, was the martial training.
My hair is like wet, with like hair product in it. So if I have a Giuliani moment, someone just let me know, okay? So, wipe my forehead.
Hey,
yes.
Kaimana,
Yes.
do you think you could do a keg stand with the jug? Like a jug stand?
Yeah, I could probably do that.
Oh
Okay.
no, I've got it. We're gonna go upstairs. We're gonna fill the bathtub. We're gonna send Kamana to the bottom of the bathtub, and we're gonna do a beer bong.
Oh, Lord.
Source, that is the greatest idea I've ever heard in my life.
Abel is very
I said
interested,
about
but
making this
he doesn't
happen.
want to admit it in front of his son.
I'll go draw the water. You get the beer and the bong stuff, and Kaimana.
Ooh. She is not happy. What did you do?
Somebody at the come on stairs.
Sorry, everybody. Sully's not happy.
Our podcast
Yes, I
has
drink
been sullied.
responsibly.
Yeah, it has been sullied. Oh my. Okay, so you all gather. So Soros heads up the stairs to the bath, and meanwhile, Kaimana and Grace are drunkenly.
It's me. I'm here now in the cafe.
Kind of tipsily pull their things together and start heading upstairs after Soros. And so you get up there, and the bath fills up fairly quickly. And so after 10 minutes or so, you've got a full bath. And so Soros is there waiting for you all to do your beer bong with the bathtub. So how are you doing this, Source? What's your method?
Uh, well, obviously, with the beer bong, you have the tube and where you pour in the front. So I give the tube to one end of the tube to Kaimana and say, dive to the bottom with this in your mouth. And then once he dives down, I'm going to let Mar pour the beer from the jug into the other end. And we're going to pour till he surfaces.
Okay. So Kamada, you dive down.
Yes.
All right. Go ahead and roll a Constitution saving throw with disadvantage because you were already drunk.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting.
Yep.
And I have no idea how Source knows what a beer bong is, but it seemed like something I should go with.
Invented it.
You just
Well, the first
yeah.
roll was a-
This is
The first
go ahead.
first roll was a nat 1, so I think we can start there.
So Kaimana like drunkenly drops to the bottom of the water in the tube. Mars starts pouring, forgetting that the alchemy jug can kick out 2 gallons of beer a minute, and it starts going down into the tube. And after like 1, 2, 3, you all just see this puddle of beer and Kaimana surfaces, and there's just froth and beer and foam coming out of his mouth, and he looks kind of like he just did a cyanide tablet, and there's just everywhere. And then he's just floating on the top of the water and covered in foam and probably a little bit of vomit. So.
Does he still have the tube in his mouth?
Yes, we'll say he does.
I look at Mar.
I pour in very cautiously this time. Just a little bit.
Okay. So Kaimana, the liquid starts coming again. Do you try to deal with the flow?
Yes.
All right. Roll another Constitution saving throw with disadvantage.
That's a 10.
Okay.
Oh,
So
that's good.
the slower flow allows you to kind of maintain, and the liquid goes down pretty easily. After 30 seconds or so, you can't take any more, and the tube pops out of your mouth and it starts pouring into the bathtub, and the bathtub is slowly becoming a mixture of water and beer. But you are very, very drunk. Probably the drunkest Kaimana has ever been at this point. So this will make for an interesting tomorrow.
Good work.
Uh,
I will pull Kevin out so he doesn't drown in this bathtub.
Okay. All right. So sloppy, wet Kaimana pulled out of the
I
bathtub
wrangle
by
him in
Mar.
a towel once again. We find ourselves in this situation.
Swaddle Kaimana up in a towel. You just got him there. Yep.
That was
Well-
both spectacular and somewhat disappointing at the same time.
I think it's about as well as it could have gone.
True. True. It was informative, at least.
We learned a lot. I think we can build on this.
You
I'll
think
go. Oh, yep.
Think he's going to survive?
Yeah, it'll be fine, right? Abel can heal, right?
Well, he will have He will have hot cross buns. Northwick buns.
There you go.
Yeah.
North Cross.
Northwick. Yep.
Northwick. He will have Northwick buns in the morning, and that will definitely make him perk up.
Exactly. He'll be totally fine. Right? Right, buddy? Yeah. You're good. I'll go put Kaimana to bed.
All right. So once again, Mar takes Kaimana to bed and tucks him into bed and immediately falls asleep with his little hands clasped at his chest.
Tell me a story.
Oh,
What? What? Do
Uh,
mm-hmm. I feel like if I tell you a story right now, you're not going to hear it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Once upon a time. Oh, there you go. All right, I leave.
Oh my god.
that
I
was
was
a good one.
right. So Kamana's out for the evening. Anything else anybody wants to accomplish before the evening comes to a close?
There was something. What was it? Oh, yes. I'm going to take the black powder and lead that I've got and make 10 more charges,
Okay.
so that I'm no longer down to just 7 rounds of ammunition left in my pouch.
All right. So Phileas taught you the basics of how it works, so you're
Yep.
more than capable of doing that. So you can add 10 more shots to your round.
Great. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, go ahead, Abel.
I want to at some point before we all like go off to bed. I want to spend some time and play with my little puzzle piece thing.
Your puzzle box. Okay, so are you doing this in the center of the tavern?
Probably not. Whenever we like go to bed,
Okay.
I'll spend some time right before bed.
So at some point, Saurus goes off to make his shots, and I guess Mar probably goes to journal or whatever.
Yeah.
And Kaimana's dead. And so
No.
Abel goes to his room, and there are probably just enough rooms that Alyria has a room, Ogon has a room. Like there's enough rooms here that people can have their individual spaces. It seems like Tavik's room is actually the storage closet behind the bar. So at some point in the night, he does return. I'm getting feedback. I don't know from who.
Yeah, I'm getting an echo.
Hang on.
I don't know. That didn't. I don't know if that fixed it. So at some point, Tavik returns, and you see him disappear into the storage closet. Sora does not ever come back to the bar, so you're not sure if she stays at the Gilded Ass or if she stays somewhere else. But eventually, everyone makes their way to their rooms. Abel, go ahead and roll a intelligence check for your puzzle box.
Where's my oh, it's at the top. There we go. 13.
13. So you're playing with the box, and you manage to get it past the first step. But then when you try to go to the second stage, it's been a long day. There's been a lot that's happened, and you just can't seem to remember the path that gets there. So you throughout the course of the evening playing with it, you don't advance further. Yeah.
Oh, bollocks. I need to get some rest anyway.
All right. So everyone goes to sleep. All right. So night reaches you all, and then so you get a long rest. I don't think you had a battle or anything, so you're good.
Oh, no. I needed the longer rest.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. You
Did
had
we
a
ever
battle.
heal you more?
Laura healed me a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
Yeah.
So Amar,
Because I'm like,
you
I
did
have
your
all
long
my
rest.
spell slots. I
Yeah.
don't think I rolled a cure wounds or anything.
Well,
No.
you could have, and it's too late now. But I'll remember this.
I probably would have done it for her first, honestly.
All right, well, I'll remember this.
I mean, she is my longest friend, right? So
I've known you a week. What are you talking about?
yeah.
All right. So the next morning, Abel and Mar, and well, probably not Mar, Abel and Saurus, you rise rested and kind of ready to face the day. And the first thing you notice is there's a warm, delicious fragrance that seems to be wafting from the the lower area of the Gilded Ass, and you hear the faint like sound of like humming or singing off in the distance. So when you come out of your rooms and head downstairs, as you get to the lower area, you hear the sound of menorah singing from the kind of the kitchen area of the Gilded Ass, and the fragrance that's coming out is freshly baking Northwick buns. And she seems to be sauteing some things that are mixing with them. And she's there kind of singing and dancing. Mar, go ahead and roll a Constitution saving throw for your drunkenness from the night before.
Oh.
6.
Mar, you are really quite hungover.
Cool.
And suffer 1 point of exhaustion.
Yeah.
You did not sleep well last night.
At least you're not still drunk.
Yeah.
I guess
I'm assuming that was below a 5.
Yeah, still drunk would have been below a 5, but point of exhaustion. You are tired heading into this day. And then so, Mar, you wake up. Do you head downstairs as well with everybody else?
I got a question, Josh. Do I remember drunk dialing my boss last night?
Do you?
Roll a history check.
Roll history? Okay.
With disadvantage.
It's painful. It's a 19 plus.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
That's with disadvantage?
23. Oh, with a disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
What are you? 12.
12. Vaguely, you remember that you called your boss.
Oh, fuck.
Didn't you end it with like an "I love you" or something? Wasn't something like?
No, I don't think so.
I don't remember that.
I feel like I didn't do that.
I hope you did, but I don't think you did.
No.
I don't think I did. I think
That's just fanfic on my part.
All right. I'm going to
Quick,
send a
Josh,
quick
check the
message
archive.
to my boss, but we can cut away so I can write a script real
Okay,
quick.
so you're going to take a moment to do that. That's good. All right.
Abel is like super excited about these buns, so I'm probably gonna like rush my dad's room, and wake him up like an excited little kid, so we can go get some Northwick buns
buns.
together.
All right, so you go ahead, and your dad's already awake, and he's kind of kneeling at the foot of his bed, and he seems to be in prayer. And the moment you come in, you just burst through the door, and he's like, I did not expect such an early rise. What is going on?
You were already awake, fella. I know you were. You need to come. Some of the best pastry confections in the kingdom are waiting for us. Hurry, come downstairs.
Okay, let me just... and he grabs like the top part of his robe, and he kind of throws it on, and okay, lead the way. And he follows you downstairs.
So we go. Sorry, found a toy. We go down and enjoy our... we'll go down and I'll... is he in a robe or like in clothes?
Like his kind of ambassadorial robe, he grabbed that and threw it on over the top of what he was wearing.
Like, that's not appropriate. Yep.
You said make yourself at home.
Robe in a fantasy setting does not mean the same thing as a modern robe.
Nah.
It's not in his... Josh would have said jammies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've never heard Josh use the word jammies in the...
He's in a towel in the middle of the lobby. It's so weird.
It's so odd, Dad. What is this? The Nuevians are all naturalists. You guys have missed out on it. It's fine.
This is true. We are nude most of the time. I'll go and introduce him to... what's her name? It's in my notes.
Menorah?
Menorah, yeah.
Okay.
I'll introduce him to Menorah, and I'll introduce her as the best pastry chef probably in the region.
All right, so you go back, and there's like a little window that kind of looks through from the bar area back into the cooking area, and you kind of go up to the window, and you see Menorah in a cloud of confections, and she's got some stuff on the stove that she's frying up, that she's mixing with some of the dough, and she's throwing things in the oven, and so you call out to her, and she's like, oh, just 1 second, and she grabs this tray of buns, and she throws them into the oven, and then grabs kind of a hot plate and slides another tray of buns out and sets them down, and they're fresh and steaming. And then she comes over to the window and she goes, "Oh, so good to see you again. Thank you so much for the invite. This is quite exciting. I've heard that I'm cooking for is it true, a member of the royal family and the king's council? This is quite exciting."
Yes, the princess of Alyria is inside of the tavern now. I'm sure you will have plenty of time to meet her. And one of the king's council is also here, the guild master. And this is my father. He is an ambassador from Nuevia.
Oh, good. And she like bows like deeply, like she's not sure, and so she bows to your father, and she says, "Oh, it's such a
We
pleasure."
don't do that here.
Oh, yes. Well,
It's a black man. Okay.
that's true. And she kind of says, "It's such an honor. This is, I was just a week ago, just kind of baking for fun, and here I am baking for royalty. This is quite amazing."
Yes, I will order 10 of her Northwick buns.
Well, you don't need to order. Tovik already
Oh.
to kind of paid me for this, and so I'm just going to set out an array of buns, and you guys are more than welcome to choose your lot. It'll just be a little bit longer before they're all out of the oven.
Okay, so we'll wait around until so we can have our bunch.
Okay, so you go and kind of take a seat somewhere.
I'll call over to Soros and like, come, get some of the food. He's the only other one that's awake, right?
Yep.
Yeah, as far as you know. Yep.
Okay.
All right, Soros, do you join them over there?
When the buns hit the window, I will join you.
Okay. So, Mar, do you have your...
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I think it's 25 words. We'll see. Yeah.
Some compound.
Hey, Kellyanne. Someone took my stone last night. Sorry. Heard about a spider queen in the deep wood. Hope that helps. Headed to Feldspar. Good luck. That's it. That's all I want to
Okay.
say.
A few minutes goes by, and then you hear the reply. So it is quite early to hear from you, considering the state you were in last night. Yes, spiders have been on the rise in the forest. A queen would be a problem. Thank you for the warning. Perhaps we will see you soon. And that's all she says.
She didn't fall for my great lie. What? For my clever ruse. All right, I'll go join everybody else.
All right, so you head downstairs.
Actually, I'm gonna make sure Kaimon is alive. Actually.
Okay.
Hold on.
So you go into Kaimana's room and roll a perception check to see if you get a sense of life in the room.
4. No. 5.
5. Kaimana's dead.
Oh my god, he was so young. Jesus Christ. What are we gonna tell his 51 family members? No. Fuck. Oh god. I'm just gonna sit down and process this for a minute.
Do you sit down on the bed, or do you...
Yeah, I sit down on the bed.
Okay, so Kaimana, you feel Mar sit down on the bed. Go ahead and roll a Constitution saving throw as you're awoken by Mar's presence. With disadvantage on ability checks, so yeah.
Oh, Christ. Okay, first one's not bad. So, yeah, that is a 10.
A 10. So you feel Mar's presence and you groggily come awake, and there's a moment where you feel like whatever you drank last night is probably not going to be long for the stomach. So you can choose where that throw.
Stop! Oh, thank God you're alive.
Oh,
Yeah, me too. You hanging in there?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
How are y'all reacting to the smell of the food?
Constitution saving throws.
With disadvantage?
No,
Disadvantage?
just the first one
Okay.
was because you succeeded on yours. Come on. And it's just ability checks for you, Mar. So, yep.
16.
Okay. The smell actually has that, like that, sense of like when you're super hungover and you just know that that might help cure that feeling. You're getting that
Mhm.
fragrance. Yeah.
Okay.
Like a Waffle House at 3 a.m.
Stop. I miss it.
So much. All right, come on up.
You're muted.
Yeah, I'm gonna have some breakfast.
Okay. Good. So you guys are all ready to go. So you head downstairs, and by the time Kaimana and Grace, Jesus, I'm gonna keep doing that all night. Apparently tonight.
Wow.
This is like
Wow.
Velvet and Violet, like 5 episodes ago. So Mar and Kaimana make their way downstairs, and about that time, there's a tray of Northwick buns brought out and set kind of with a flourish at the table, and then Minora goes back to the back and grabs another one and comes out. And as you're looking at them, it looks like there's like 3 different varieties, maybe 4 different varieties of buns there for you to peruse, and they're giving off this warm, inviting fragrance. And eventually, Alyria comes down and she's wearing a much more simple outfit than the day before, not wearing her chainmail. And she's like, "God, that smells fantastic!" And she goes directly for the buns, and they're there for your kind of you're taking. There's the ones that you definitely recognize from your first encounter with her, like that seem like they're kind of honey glazed. There's a few that look like they have pistachio type nuts on top. And the actual bun itself has a slightly greenish tint to it. And then there's another one that when somebody's looking at it, she points to it and she says, "Those are savory. They have wood ear mushrooms inside." And then there's another one that's a little savory, and you can see almost like it looks like bacon crumbled and sprinkled along the top of it as
On
well.
that one.
Oh, I wonder which one Abel's gonna go for. Oh, I can figure it out.
Abel will get 3 of the bacon buns.
And the moment you grab them, Ogon looks over and says, "Eating meat, are we?"
It is to blend in with the rest of the population.
I
And
see.
he'll put the 4th one on his plate.
Ogon goes for the mushroom ones and does not take the bacon ones.
It's not regular meat. It's bacon.
That is still very much meat where I come from.
No, it's bacon. And I take the bun off of his plate.
I feel you,
If you
man.
don't want it anymore.
Animal meat is overrated. That makes it sound like I eat humans. Whoops. I
My
keep eating.
suspicion is piqued even more.
This is hungover Mar.
Yeah.
Less filter than before.
Mm-hmm.
Have I think I've talked to my dad about Mars' condition, right? Didn't we talk about that last time?
Last
he
night,
knows.
yeah. And he cautioned you that it wasn't, that if you trusted her, then you should trust her. All right.
We shall see. It has only been a week, as everyone keeps reminding me.
Around as once you guys are kind of all filling your plates, Darkon makes his way downstairs, and he looks rough for this world. Whatever Sora gave him the night before is still with him, very much so. And he kind of takes a seat and grabs one of the buns and puts it on the table and just kind of begins nibbling on it. This is quite good. And then he nibbles a little bit more. Oh, I shouldn't eat anymore. He sets it aside. He does not look well. And so Ogoan goes over to talk to him, kind of out of earshot of everybody else, while you guys are eating your buns.
I'll ask, how is everyone feeling this morning?
Great.
Like, that's warmed over.
Really, really well.
Yes, I heard you all upstairs. You sounded like you were having too much fun.
Well, no one died.
I got waterboarded with beer.
Sounds
You were
dangerous.
spectacular.
I'm sorry I missed it.
You know, it could be a good weapon. I feel like if we just kind of finesse it a little bit, then,
Yes.
you know.
The alchemy jug is a great weapon if your opponent does not resist in any way.
And I said we'd fine tune it, but yeah.
For
Although we
example,
could
if you
throw
did
mayonnaise at them.
Maybe
mayonnaise
if you
down the beer
like,
bong.
or if you just like throw all the mayonnaise out in front of them, and then when they're like running towards you, they slip and fall. Picture
Just
that.
terrain.
Yeah.
We're gonna weaponize the mayonnaise. We're going to figure out a way to do that.
Cholesterol?
Abel,
What did we
Can you
agree
make-
on? What are we doing?
we're rescuing the kitty cat.
Yeah. Well,
Tavik hears you say that from a distance and goes, "Are you crazy? They killed one of the slaughterers."
So did they.
That's true, but
none of us directly killed the slaughterers.
Mar.
roll a deception
It's not
check,
fair.
Mar.
Roll a deception.
Yeah,
Am I a disadvantage?
yeah, it's an ability check. Yep.
I feel like we need to heal
Uh-huh.
Mar before.
What's a 0 gonna do for me, Josh? I rolled a 1 and it's a -1.
Well, it's really like I was like, oh, she's actually gonna beat him because he only rolled a 3.
No.
She
And-
rolled worse than a critical fail.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tavik like pauses for a second. He's thinking. He goes, "Wait, did somebody kill more of the slaughterers?"
No, they. A wolf got him. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
He does not believe you, and he hasn't talked to
Right, well-
Sora. He hasn't talked to Sora yet, so he doesn't know the full story. But
Oh fuck! Does Sora know I'm a werewolf? Oh no!
Sora was there.
I gotta bring Sora. Oh
Oh.
no! Oh god! Oh jeez!
I didn't even think about that.
I just thought about that. Oh no!
Yep.
I
Hey,
did.
is Sora around right
Say a
now?
word.
Sora's not currently in the tavern, as far as you can tell.
Ah, fuck.
Because she's out gathering the townsfolk to expose
Yeah, she's gonna go burn
werewolves.
me down.
I just picture her coming back in wearing like a silver necklace and silver bracelets.
Oh my god.
Jesus. It's maybe
She's
something
collected all
we
the
need to
silver
address
coins.
later.
Maybe I can endear myself to this woman whose boyfriend I murdered. Maybe I'll win her over.
You're gonna kill her boyfriend and then sleep with her.
No.
You know what? I'm sorry. I should not sexualize Mar. That's not fair.
I mean, it's fine. I'm just, she's the sexiest one in this group. Let's be real.
Definitely. All right. Like a moment later, Ogon comes back and he says, "I don't think that the guildmaster will be up for air travel today, so it looks like you have your delay in our travels to Hightower. So
That is very good.
if you can
Your plan
return by
very
tomorrow,
peaceful.
then it will work." Yeah.
I'm sure this kitten
We will
will
head
have
off.
no problem for us.
And I recommend having more of the Northwick buns.
Oh,
You really should try the bacon.
they are quite delicious. I do not eat meat, but I appreciate it. If my son finds them to be delicious, while disappointing, I will allow him to eat all of the bacon.
I don't eat that much meat, Father.
Yes. Roll a deception check.
What is? He's fair. He's fair.
Your father is judging you. You have to figure out whether or not you're lying properly to him.
Oh well.
He's-
Well, at least I don't have a negative. Oh man, it's a 9.
Busted!
He
A
looks at
straight 9.
he looks at you when you say you don't eat a lot of meat. He looks down at the
I don't-
three. He looks down at what's left of the 3 buns on your plate.
Don't make eye contact.
And he grabs one of the pistachio ones and bites into it. And like there's a moment where he like catches himself because whatever's inside kind of comes out, like when you're eating like an eclair that's overfilled. And there's this reddish, seedy jam on the inside. And ooh, it is raspberry. This is delicious. And he grabs another one. These are quite good. Minora, praises to you. I would say that perhaps even in Noevia we do not have pastries of this greatness. Thank you for sharing. And Minora just like speechlessly like heads back into the kitchen and just you hear her the moment the door closes to the kitchen you hear her go, "Yes, fuck yes." And then she comes back out a moment later with like a pitcher of milk and she's just like, "Oh, and some refreshing milk for everybody," and she sets it down. And that's there. And so you guys have your fill of breakfast. There's plenty for you if you want to pack some up to take with you on your trip as well.
Hey, Tomik.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see Sora this morning at all? Anywhere?
Sora has a room she's renting, like, couple, like, down somewhere else. She decided she didn't want to sleep under the same roof as me, so... Yes.
Okay. Well, you've not really been helpful, but thank you, regardless.
Did I answered your
Actually-
question? I don't know. Okay.
Tarvik, we discussed this last night, and there is a commission that came in for the Adventurers Guild that we think that you and Sora as junior members could actually handle.
I think that might have been a jab, but what was it?
No, that was not a jab. We talked about them doing the winged terror,
Right, yeah.
one where they were going to give us food as compensation of sending them off to handle that.
We did talk about that. Yeah.
Okay, so you hand it over, and he looks at it and he says, "I like food."
And it's not a cat.
I don't like cats. That's true. Like, the cat didn't kill the slaughterers, by the way. It was something else.
What
was
was
the
it
something?
that killed these slaughterers?
Well, so it's in a forest or like a woods or like an overgrown patch of something. And, I think it's haunted. Or, I don't know, the woods themselves killed the slaughterer.
The woods
Okay.
themselves. And I'll look at Mar. Does these sound familiar?
Were you in the deep wood?
Well, so this would like probably no, but not. We're not far from the deep wood anywhere. But this is it's a weird. The vines came and literally strangled the guy.
It's probably that
Okay.
dragon.
We never found the kitten. We never got close to it.
This should be exciting then.
Yeah, well, okay. Let's go fight a forest.
I think the flamethrower would be the best option in this case.
Yeah,
Yeah, plants
No
don't like
ballista
fire.
today.
forest fire.
I mean, there's some other things they say live in those woods too, but we didn't make
Things
it that
like
far.
what? What types of things
Well,
do they say live in the woods?
I don't know, just things you don't really want to mess with. It's private property, so people don't hunt there, so there's not a lot of traffic, so things make home to places where they're not bothered often.
So, okay, we'll
That does make sense.
talk to the landowners before we find the kitten anyway. So
Yeah, I'd recommend talking to
Okay.
the Haverleys first. They kind of have a policy of arresting trespassers, so I would definitely check in with her first.
That was the plan.
okay. When do you plan to go to take care of the wing terror?
As soon as I can find and convince Sora, I guess.
Okay.
Well, Mara was getting ready to go talk to her, so
Yes.
she
Yeah,
can...
I'll warm her up to the idea. I'm very charismatic,
Okay.
right?
Oh. Insight check. No, I'm joking.
No, that was a genuine question from Mark.
oh.
You are
What
in a very
town-
dark. You are in a very dark and mysterious sort of way.
Thank you.
Was the wing terror in?
You
It's
look great in the coat.
yeah.
Thanks. I think it does a lot for hiding my physique.
The wing tear is not in a town. It's
It was
both of these are actually like the same plot of land. Both of these are there. It's a very, very large plot of land, and like the far eastern plot was where the farms are, and that's where the wing terror issue is. It's kind of towards the center of the plot of land, probably like 5 or 6 miles from the other one, where Lady Haverley lives and where you're being sent for the kitten deal. It's not really in a town; it's on her land.
okay.
Yeah.
I will walk over to Kaimana and ask him, "Do you need help standing up?"
No, I'm fine.
Okay. I was just concerned.
So, Mar, are you going to try to find Sora?
Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna try wandering around, hoping I run into Sora.
Tavik sees you go out, and he's like, "Are you going to Sora? Do you want me to go to Sora? I'm just."
No, I'll go to Sora. I think it'll, no offense, go over better.
Oh, do you know where she is?
No.
Oh, well that. Good luck.
He's
All right, I leave.
This is Tavik also doesn't know you need help, so.
Wow.
Yep.
This
I'll
is
ask
a
Tommy,
-1
where
charisma
is she
talking to a
staying?
-1 charisma.
Oh, Tavik's lower than that. But yeah.
oh.
All right.
Great conversation you two had.
Yeah.
Oh.
Roll an
I'll
investigation
I'll ask Pollock
check.
before we go. Where is Sora staying?
Oh, she is like on the road that kind of circles behind the square near the temple. She's staying next door to the temple. There's an upstairs room.
Okay.
I'm
With that
gone.
information,
I'm gonna
Yeah.
find her. I'm gonna do some detective work and figure this out.
Roll an investigation check with disadvantage, Mar.
I was just going to go tell you where she
just
was.
walking down the street shouting "Sora" at the top of her lungs. You
I
know,
wouldn't do
that-
that. It is a 17 though.
Wow.
With disadvantage.
Okay. So it doesn't take you long, surprisingly. Like you're kind of walking around and you find it within your leftover drunken courage to even ask somebody like, "Hey, Sora," and this person happens to know. Yeah, she's 3 doors down, left upstairs.
Cool.
And so you go and you knock aggressively on her door, or whatever you do.
Not aggressively, but yeah.
She cracks the door open, and she's got her bed sheet like pulled in front of her like this, and she's like, "The fuck are you on?"
Yeah, I realize this is really early. I'm sorry. I had a revelation that I should probably have a conversation with you. Should I come in or should I like give you a sec?
She closes the door, and you inside you hear her kind of rummaging in things, and then she like opens the door and does that thing where she slides out without you being able to see inside, and then she closes the door behind her. And she's just wearing a very simple tunic and pants. What is this about that couldn't wait until we were all awake?
Well, we were heading out, and I wasn't confident if I was going to run into you guys again. Oh boy. In the woods. The other night. Did you happen to see me at all?
No, I saw the other ones. They're the ones who.
Insight check
Yeah, go ahead and roll.
with disadvantage.
Yep.
Hey, I keep rolling really well. 16.
Yeah, she's telling the truth. She does not remember seeing you.
Cool. Well, this has been fun, Sora. I should go. This has been a mistake.
Don't forget to tell her about the.
She as she opens the door and kind of like slides in, she's like, "Not the only one we made last night," and she closes the door behind her.
Right, no, sorry. I have to tell you, I forgot.
She opens the door again and she peeks out. What?
Do you want to go on a mission with Tavik? Say yes.
What? A mission? What do I get out of it?
One step closer to coming to the Adventurers Guild, and also you probably get to show him up in a fight.
You should have led with the second one. And she closes the door, and you get the sense that she's going to. But yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad Sora loves me and is very fond of my character. I'll leave.
Sora, I'm not sure Sora loves anybody at this point. And so
She didn't knife you. I think that's a win.
Yeah, she's not playing active tricks on you. So there you go.
I've won her over.
Yeah. All right, so you head back to the Gilded Ass, and around that, you get back, and everyone's enjoyed their fill of breakfast, and so you all have it's probably like 9 o'clock at this point, so you have the full day ahead of you. Did you just unmute yourself, Ronnie? Did you just unmute yourself?
Yeah, just now.
I think you're the source of the echo.
Am I the echo? Maybe I need to change headphones.
It might also be because I'm talking loud, and so it's just going into the other room.
Do you have
Picking
speakers
you up
on your
from the
desk?
hallway.
No, we're all not speakered. That's weird. But I am talking loud, so that probably is not helping.
Yeah, stop projecting, Josh.
Jesus, sorry. Okay. All right. So, as you guys are ready to go, the day is ahead of you. It's probably 9 o'clock or so after everyone's awoken and eaten breakfast. And Alora's sitting there. Oguan is just he's got out a journal and he's kind of sketching in his journal as he's eating his second pistachio and raspberry bun. But they're all kind of sitting there. The Darkon has gone back upstairs and he is nowhere to be seen.
So I will say my goodbyes to Princess and my father. Give me a big hug. Tell them we will be back soon.
Well, have fun. I guess you said there's a monastery nearby. I guess I'll go check that out.
Unless you want to go with us.
I wouldn't want to cramp your style if you know. But if you don't mind.
I don't know, Father. It would.
That was totally Alora. Sorry.
Oh, that was Alora. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she can come. That's fine.
Okay. And so she kind of looks over at Oguan, like almost for permission, and he just nods his head, and then goes back to sketching. And she's, I'll be right back. And she tears upstairs. And after about 5 or 6 minutes, she comes down and she's pulled that chainmail on, and she's got her hammer, and you can see her putting her buckler on her back, and she's got a little backpack, and she's like, okay, well, I thought I wouldn't get an adventure out of this, but get Darkon drunk and you can do anything that you like.
There's an important lesson here that you need to learn before going on an adventure.
Yes, what is that?
I take a Northwick bun and stick it in my pocket.
And she goes, okay. And she grabs one and she pulls a handkerchief out and wraps one up, and she puts it in her backpack pocket as well. Well, this is exciting. I can't wait to see you all in action.
I'll some of the mushroom ones and try to make sure my father sees me and sneak another bacon bottle.
I will look at Abel and take some of the bacon ones and stuff them in my coat and wink at him.
Roll for... Oh, we just lost Ronnie.
Oh, no.
Well, hold on. We'll just hold on for a second. It's because of the feedback. There he goes.
I got so excited about those bacon buns, man.
Oh, I know. Hold on. I'm trying to keep track of something. So 107. All right. So go ahead and roll a sleight of hand check, Abel. You're muted.
I know, I'm rolling crap today, man. A 10 plus 1. 11.
That's above average. That's not crap. However, your dad's super observant, and you just see him like he's just like looking over his journal. And he goes back to sketching in his journal.
To be fair, I also am not subtle, so it probably didn't help you at all in that situation.
Yes. All right, hold on. Let me pull up Alora's information just in case you guys run into any kind of conflict.
I'm sure we won't. I'm sure we'll just walk into the backyard, find the cat, give it back.
And it would be perfectly right.
Everything settles.
Yep.
All right.
The cat was on the roof the entire time.
Okay.
It was so silly.
How are you feeling, Kamana?
I'm well, better.
Did someone have a point of exhaustion? Didn't
Mar actually has a point of exhaustion.
Can we like heal?
Kaimana seems to hold his alcohol a little bit better than Mar does.
Lord, I had that bad. I should have went over to Mar.
Strength, so.
Oh my
I
god.
didn't hold on to a lot of it like Mar did.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that was the
Should
problem.
I heal
kept it
Mar
all
before
in.
we go?
I think exhaustion you cannot.
You can't heal an exhaustion.
But unless you have
Only
like,
if you have restoration.
I don't even know if lesser restoration will do it. I think it takes greater restoration.
Greater.
Yeah, which none of you have that for sure.
Nope.
But
It's good. I fought with much worse than this. It's fine.
yeah, she just has disadvantage on ability checks until she's able to take another rest. So
That's just like the time Mar was like, hit me with the thunder wave. Like, I had 3 hit points left. I'm fine. Don't worry about it.
That's a good Mar impression.
Yeah.
Is that what I sound like?
Sure.
All right. So as you guys head out of town, you've got the general map of the Riverlands area, and the Haverley's estate is labeled, and just kind of generally it looks like it's probably about 3 or 4 miles out of town before you start hitting the edge of it, and then the center of the estate is where you're headed. So over the course of the next couple hours, you're leisurely walking through the area outside of Broadfield heading up there. And there's a moment where you cross into farmland and hills that look like almost like they were purposely carved out of the land. And it's like this area is very clearly, this type of being. And then like over here, there's an orchard, and it's all very manicured and laid out. And so you get the sense that you're marching into an area that is heavily trafficked by somebody who is planning things versus like individual farms with individual land.
These didn't spring up out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, yeah. And so a little bit further on, you start to see there's a couple like people who you see milling about in one of the orchards, and they're picking up apples or like very early like crabapple type apples. There's another field you come across where they freshly tilled the area, and they seem to be planting some of the early crops for the early spring crops, and they're all similarly dressed. They're not like poverty stricken looking, but they are very plainly dressed, very similar outfits. And as you walk, you see more tending other fields, and you get to places where there's paddocks of horses and another of cows, and then some really luxurious looking sheep. And this area, as you keep walking, becomes very clear that you are in the Haverly estate or Haverly area. Somebody raised their hand.
You're muted.
like I'm teaching class. Gee. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So we're walking past these people that are tending the fields.
Yeah.
Can we stop and talk to them? Would they maybe know anything about the woods attacking people, or people going near the woods or into the woods and being attacked or killed?
Okay. So you wave somebody over, and there's a moment where
We'll introduce ourselves.
Before they head over to your direction, they look around, and then they kind of walk over, and they're like, "Oh yeah, what can I do for you?"
Yeah. How are you today? We are members of the newly formed
busy
ticket
but,
takers.
Yeah.
It will not take very long. We are members of the newly formed Ticket Takers Adventures Guild. We are here to solve the problem of a displacer beast. Have you heard anything about people going into the woods and being attacked by the woods themselves?
The deep woods, the woods around here?
Yes, of course.
Well, yeah. We don't really go there. We're not really allowed. So I've heard legends, but none of us ever step foot in the Haverly Woods.
What do the legends say about the woods?
That if you do, you might not come back out.
Could have told you that.
About the type of creatures that attack people?
Well, I mean, we don't go up there because we are told not to, and I kind of like my job, so I don't want to lose
Thank you, good
that.
sir. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
I just a waste of my time.
All right, he goes back as he's walking back to picking apples. What a waste of my time! And he goes back and picks apples.
No, that was a very pleasant peasant.
Mm-hmm. Pleasant peasant. All right.
Sorry.
I'm laughing, Rob. You just can't hear me because I'm muted.
It's like no one's gonna groan at that. It's so bad. Come on, guys, give me something.
Not really
Give me
gonna
something.
appreciate the dead silence.
It literally took me like a minute of time in my brain to actually process what you'd said. So there is
Please
a moment
clap.
where you realize that the land is starting to rise up, and you're approaching a fairly large hill, and atop the hill you can see, as you're getting closer, ringing it is a wall, and the road seems to be heading straight for the wall. And as you get closer to that, there's a very ornate gate that is separating. The road is running into and is currently closed. Beyond the hill, because of the way that the hill rises beyond the wall, you can see just like there's trees inside of this walled in area, and it's fairly massive walled in space. But you can see trees and just like the hint of maybe spires of a building kind of off in the distance. But as you get closer, there are two men standing on either side of the gate, both of them with halberds. And they're just standing there with their eyes straight forward, looking at the area in the road. They don't speak when you approach. You're muted.
I whisper to the princess, would you like to address your royal subjects?
I was mostly hoping to observe.
Jokingly.
Okay. And she steps back. Why don't you do it? One of you. I would like to see you at work.
I'll do it. I'm great at this. All right. I walk up.
rolling disadvantage for mobility checks. I've got this.
Yeah, I assumed like I would have the
Hold
formal
my
like
beer.
letter that they was sent to the
Mhm.
guild to present to them. Be like, where was the Adventurers Guild? We're here about the cat problem.
Okay. The one that you kind of hold it up to, he doesn't move his head, but you see him kind of like glance down with his eyes, and then he just takes the halberd and taps it twice on the ground, and you hear the gate unlatch and then and open behind him, and then he just kind of nods and gives you clearance to enter in.
I turn around to the group. Really good at it.
Good job, Mark.
Yeah.
Way to
Alyria,
put yourself out there. Really step out of your shell.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel awful.
it was very efficient. It was the best
We
way to
should,
handle
we
I was
should
gonna
drunk more often.
I was gonna finish that sentence and it just didn't. It didn't happen.
Oh, no.
All right. So you kind of enter it, and the gate itself is this beautiful wrought iron feature that has kind of this filigree up at the top with a very ornate H. And as you're walking past it, and you enter in, like if the farmland and the pastures and everything around you were manicured, then this is like beyond that. The moment you step in, the grass is carefully cut. Like you don't know how they're cutting the grass, but it's beautifully kept. And there are plots of hedges that surround fountains, and there's very large ornate trees that are surrounded by sitting areas. And the path kind of winds through all of this, and eventually there's a few trees that kind of clear, and you see in the distance off a red bricked manor house, at least 3 stories tall, several spires, circular in nature, attached to it. It appears almost as if they were trying to go for the elegance of like a palace, while also the imposing nature of a castle. And there's a few banners hanging from the top, snapping in the breeze. And this singular path winds through these kind of garden areas and heads straight for the front entrance of the manor house. Behind the manor, you can see there's a large, or kind of a small forest area behind the manor, and then there's a rock structure, natural in nature, that kind of rises, as it almost looks like they've cut into the side of the hillside to build the manor, and that it backs up onto this this rocky terrain that finishes out the hill on the other side.
Wow. I'll turn to Alyria and I say, like, this looks like it could be one of the gardens at the Nuavian Palace, eh?
Yes, the Haverleys and all the patricians love to flaunt their wealth in whichever way they can.
Have you met the Haverleys before?
I have not, but I have met many of the other patricians, and they seem to all be alike, so I don't imagine that she is that much different.
Well, shall we go in?
Yes.
All right. So you get up, and there's a knocker on the door, so you can use the knocker, or you can just however you want to get attention.
We will knock.
Okay, so you knock a few times, and it's this large, heavy kind of wolf's head, and then you bang it against the door, and it gives out 3 really loud boom, boom through the house, the estate, and you kind of step.
Knockers.
It's a young Frankenstein.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank y'all. And so then a moment later.
Kind of looks like you, Mar.
Oh Lord, the wolf.
I look at Alyria, who's here with us.
Alyria, let's see if she was even paying attention. She was not. She rolled a 5. So she's staring off at like one of the fountains, and she's like, I'm almost positive that they've copied my father's fountain design on that one. And she's kind of staring off and does not overhear. A few moments later, the door creaks open, and a very stern-faced man, probably mid 50s, perhaps, well dressed, like a pocket watch, like very, very put together. Says, "Yes, may I help you?"
Show him the invitation, Mar.
He
Cat
looks at.
problem.
We thought perhaps after the first failure that we would have to send for someone else, but if you would. And he opens the door and kind of beckons you in, and he is nodding his head as you come in, and not making explicit eye contact with any of you as you come in. The moment Alyria passes him, he looks and follows her, and then kind of goes back to bowing, and he says, "Right this way," and he closes the door behind him, and you find yourself in an extended foyer, large, probably 15-foot high ceilings. There's a large chandelier at the center. At the back end of the foyer, there's a staircase that kind of starts and then spirals up to the second floor. On either side, you can see open, not like closed doorways. There's like a sitting area to the left and another sitting area with a fireplace to the right that's completely differently furnished. As he's leading you back further, on the left-hand side, there's what appears to be maybe like a small dining area, and a doorway that leads through that's closed, where you imagine probably a kitchen or something that way. And there's just another ornate room off to the other side that's filled with books. And then he leads you further down, and then the last set of rooms, he takes a right in front of the staircase, and you pass that way. And as you enter into this, it's another hallway that's heading back, and there's a very ornate door in the middle of the hallway on the left-hand side, and it has sconces on either side that are burning with an oil lantern fire, and this beautiful ornate red door. And you walk past that, and he kind of keeps leading you through, and there's doorways and rooms off to the side here as well. And then eventually you get to the end of this hallway, and there's a kind of a few steps down, and you find yourself in a football size room that is completely glassed.
Wow.
Football stadium sized room.
Probably not
Versus
probably not that
a
very.
football sized room.
No, yeah, sorry,
That's
not a
good. That's
not a
good.
football size. Sorry, like a football field, so like 100 yards or so. Like that, that's glassed in on parts. Like the whole back wall of it's glassed in, and half of the roof is glassed in. And this room is filled with plants of all types and all varieties. This is a beautiful sunroom, and there's plush seating arrangements, and you can hear water and fountains somewhere in here. And he keeps leading you through this. This is for every single one of you, except for Mar, has never seen anything like this. Mar and Abel have probably.
What about the princess?
Well, yeah, she's seen this. she's got the palace, but
So just two people.
yeah. So, but I mean, and for the group, like this is the most opulent anything that Saurus or Kaimana have ever seen. And he keeps
walked into a Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, and he keeps leading you, and you're like, when will this ever end? And then you get to the edge of the sunroom, and he opens a door, and you find yourself in you're outside, but there are hedges, probably 6 or 7 feet tall, or 8 feet tall, that are creating a corridor, and it goes down, and then it cuts across, and he says, "Follow the maze," and he points that way, and he's holding the door for you as you go through.
As we're making this long trek, Abel will ask him, "So, is the heavenly wealth primarily from agriculture?"
Oh, agriculture.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Well, I mean, if
What
Google
a beautiful voice he has.
if Google wants to answer it, I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Well, primarily from agriculture to start, but sorry. They do own a large tract of land, so land ownership does have its benefits.
Agriculture and real estate. Makes
They've
sense.
got
Yes.
huge tracts of land.
You got huge tracts of land. Yes. As far as patricians go, the Haverleys have the second largest land holding within the kingdom.
Who has the largest?
Oh, that would be the
Probably the royals.
well, the royals are not part of the patricians, but as far as the patricians go, that would be the Danes. They own large pieces of the Veltland. And the moment he says that, Mara, you're like, recognize the name. The Danes own like the market region of the Veltland. The city itself is actually called the Danes Market, and they are not only are landowners, but they are heavily involved in the trade between the Veltland and the rest of the region, the other regions. Yeah. The manor house that you're familiar with used to be a Danes manor house, but then they sold it off, and then it was abandoned before somebody else took over it. So.
Okay, interesting. All
Yeah.
right.
So it's in the same region. Yeah. All right. And so he kind of just, if there's nothing else, the mistress awaits. She's at the center of the menagerie, and he's pointing in that direction.
We walk in.
All right.
I look to Kamana. It's like, can you talk to bushes?
Not today.
Yes, but do
The
you want
reason
me to listen as well?
Yes, I was thinking that you could ask the maze which way to go would be the quickest path to the center.
I can ask, but I won't get an answer.
Then I don't think that will be of help.
It took me a moment.
All right. Thankfully, it's not like a complicated maze. Like, it actually seems, as you're going through it, you realize that it's designed as a maze for a purpose other than to confuse people. You make the left turn, and there's not another path. It's left, and then it loops back, and then it's a right, and then it loops back, and then it's a left. And the moment you make the left, who's leading the pack here?
I guess me.
Mar. So
I talked to him at the beginning.
which is perfect
No,
because
I'm
Okay.
going to
Abel's
do
busy like chattering with Alyria.
All right.
as we-
So Kaimana, you and Mar kind of round the corner, and like the moment you round the corner, you hear this roaring sound and a crash, and right in front of you, there, like as you're rounding the corner of the maze, in the hedge, there's a very, very large gated or barred area, and a claw kind of rakes out and then pulls back, and then you kind of get a clear view, and there inside of this kind of large enclosure is an owlbear, which, if you've never seen one before, has like this owlish face, but this large, massive bear body. And it's, now that it's seen you, it's kind of prowling back and forth in front of the bars, and every now and then it kind of rakes the bars a little bit, and it's just slowly growling at your presence.
So the pathway walks past it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like set on the side, like a side door.
Yeah. And so then this curve, like this, the maze curves in front of that. And so you pass that one, and then rather than cutting back on itself, the maze goes in a large kind of outer, like half hemisphere loop. And as you're crossing through this half hemisphere, about halfway, the maze actually opens up, and there's a kind of a railing where it was. And overlooking that, there's a large pond built into the landscape. And as you're looking for a moment, you don't see anything, but then cresting the surface is the head of a horse. And like kind of seaweed instead of mane hair. I'm trying to think who. Come on, roll a nature check when you see this one. And Mar would maybe know this too. Roll nature check.
14.
What? Okay. 14. Mar, what'd you get?
I have disadvantage, right?
Yep.
Was it a 20 and a 2? So it's a 6.
All right, Mar, you don't know. It's really pretty when you see it. It's kind of bluish and green in color. Uh, uh, Kaimana, slightly different than what you're used to, but you're kind of used to more of the saltwater version. But this is a kelpie.
Aw.
And it kind of rears its head up and kind of lets out this neigh that kind of gurgles a little bit, and then it sinks back down into the water. As you circle around the rest of the top of the maze, you come to another area where it's open, and there's just this very large domed metal piece, and there's a small griffin flying around inside of it, and kind of then it perches up in a nest up at the top. And you realize that this maze is designed to take you to each of these features of the menagerie of Lady Haverly, the lady who has a pet displacer beast.
We know where the kitty lives now.
Yeah. As you cut back through, you realize you're starting to kind of work yourself to the center of the maze. And it actually, for a moment, starts to go down. And then the last cut of the maze goes underneath part of the other feature. And you could realize that you had walked over a small little bridge and didn't realize it. And it goes through there. And then it opens up to a larger space where there's a large fountain in the middle, a seating area. And there's 3 small paddocks around the area, smaller than the paddocks, where there's a giraffe, there's a lion, and an elephant, kind of in these 3 paddock areas. And sitting at the center of the next to the fountain in a cushy chair is a severe looking woman, elven, but old enough to have gray hair. So you get the sense of probably several hundred years old elven woman. Her hair pulled back in a very tight bun, golden with silver streaks. Let's see. Where did I write down her description? Oh, there we go. She's gathered in a tight bun. She's wearing this high-necked purple dress, but it's very simple in make, but you can tell that the fabric is elegant. There's a string of pearls around her neck. There's several large, expensive rings on her fingers, and at her chest, there's a brooch of emerald at the center of her chest, and it's a very large emerald. And she's just sitting there perusing through a book. Does not look up at your presence. And then a moment later, you hear from behind you, Lady Haverly, the Adventurers Guild for you. And you don't realize, but the servant has followed you very quietly behind. And he walks past to introduce you to the area. And she says, "Thank you, Abard. Go get the things, please. Adventurers Guild. I assume you are the ones who were successful in its foundation and can perhaps actually help me versus the crew that came before and never returned."
Yes, they were attempting to prove themselves. And they did, but not in the way they imagined.
Did they all die?
Not all of them.
Oh, it's a pity. They never came back, so I assumed that would be the only excuse. But you're here, and so I assume you know why.
To get your cat back.
Yes, my kitten, Lucy, has now been missing for over 2 weeks. Quite disappointing. But you say you are the ones to get her back?
Yes.
Is there anything that you need from me on this journey?
Does Lucy have a favorite food?
Oh, yes, she does. I don't feed her, of course, but I sent Eobard to grab the things that you would need for this. He or one of my other servants should return in a moment.
Where can we find the kitten?
Well, last she was seen, she had gone into the Haverley Woods, which does not see a lot of traffic, so I can imagine this is why she's able to have been, safely out of sight and safely away from me and the menagerie for the last few weeks. The group that came before, they said that they were going to head towards the center of the woods. I imagine that might be a good place to start. If I were Lucy, I would go that way as well. It's quiet, and there's plenty of things to eat.
What are the condition of the other animals that we passed by?
Oh, you mean the residents of the menagerie?
I'm asking the DM.
Roll a nature check.
Nature? Mm-hmm. I don't know. What does my nature look like? Okay, it's +4. That's all right. Natural 20. It's the only one I'll roll all day, I promise.
So looking as you passed each animal, frightened, uncomfortable, not happy looking, but healthy. But they were all pacing, all not seemed like cramped, uncomfortable in their space. These were large creatures that were in relatively small enclosures.
I don't like this woman.
Did you say that in front of her?
Not to her. I was like whisper it to Alyria.
Okay.
Oh, she's an elf. No, I tell you that. I didn't say that. I forgot she was an elf.
I'm pretty sure you did. So go ahead and for me roll. The best we can do with this is just do a roll of sleight of hand, but we'll see how well you.
Oh God.
This.
A 18 + 1, a 19.
So there's a moment where Lady Haverley is kind of looking through her thing, and she her eyes are down, and she does that blink and then cut up. And she is about to speak, but it's that moment where she notices who you're standing next to. Your Majesty, I did not see. I apologize. I did not. And she begins to bow, and Alyria says, "No, please. You know how much I hate that, or at least all the patricians have known. I've never met you, but please do not bow to me." And Lady Haverley seems very uncomfortable with the situation, which is odd considering how an owner of the realm she was a moment before. And then she sits back down and she says, "Well, welcome, Princess, to my menagerie. It's the only of its kind in the area." And Alyria says, "I think there's a reason for that." And Lady Haverley smiles. "Yes, because we are the only ones with the means to do it." And they kind of have a stare down at each other.
Meow.
Yeah.
It's really nice. It's a really impressive collection.
Thank you.
The greenhouse was impressive as well.
That's my late husband's addition to the home. My favorite building in the grounds.
I don't know if I would call it impressive. More like oppressive. What can you tell us about the Haverley Woods and the creatures that we may encounter? Lady Haverley.
She pauses for a moment. I believe that you might feel perhaps emboldened by the presence of the princess. As far as I know, you are not royalty and do not deserve my respect after such a disrespectful display.
That is your opinion. I am here to help. If you do not want the help, then I am glad to leave.
Alyria kind of taps you a moment. She says, she leans over and says, I don't think you're very good at these games.
I step forward and say, as you can see, we're an eclectic group. We all have different talents and skills.
And
Conversing with patricians perhaps is not one of them.
the moment you step, she kind of looks you up and down, and then glances at Kaimana
Oh no!
and looks him up and down, and she goes, "Yes, quite eclectic indeed. I've never seen your kind before."
No, you haven't.
She smiles. It's just a hungry glaze look to her, gaze in her eyes at both of you.
We're going to lose 2 members together.
At that moment, a servant walks through the back of from the maze entrance into the central area. Different than Eobard. This is a female, beautiful, dressed very gorgeously, half elven, and similar kind of. She also has her hair pulled back very tightly. No makeup or anything, no jewelry, but you can tell that she's a beautiful young woman. And she comes up and she curtsies, Lady Haverly, the things you were asking for. And she's carrying a leash and on a tray, and there's a small bag next to the leash. And Lady Haverly just kind of waves, and the woman turns to Mar, who's at the front of the group, and she holds it out for you, and is kind of offering these 2 objects to you.
Yeah, I take them.
All right. And as you take them, Lady Haverly says, so the bag is Lucy's favorite food. At least that's what I was told. The leash is the leash that allows you to control her. If you can imagine, a displacer beast doesn't quite follow commands very easily, but the leash allows it. Once you attach the leash to her collar, the spell will be activated by the phrase funali. If you do not activate it, I'm afraid she will kill you. She's quite strong. But once activated, she will be able to listen to your commands. She's very good at sit and stay and follow. She also gives a good paw. But probably not quite as useful in getting her home. If you were to unhook the leash from the collar, then the spell would be broken, and she goes into a slight rage when that happens. We've already lost 1 caretaker when we learned that. And the servant next to you, you can see her kind of take a step back. But the servant is staring at you, Saurus, this whole time.
Okay. In what kind of way? Insight check.
Yeah.
And I need to put my glasses on to see what I rolled. And what I add to that? 16.
You can see that, like, it's a very earnest stare, like she's trying to get you to notice that she's noticing you.
Mm-hmm.
And like the moment she sees you look at her, she just kind of half like nods twice. And then she is that all, Lady Haverly? And Lady says, yes. And you see her kind of back up. And the whole time she's backing up, she's looking at you. And then until the last moment, she turns and she walks back through the maze. But she was definitely trying to let you know that she was trying to get your attention specifically.
Yes.
So my recommendation might be to get this done before nightfall. The woods are not a safe place during the day. They're an even less safe place at night.
That is the plan.
Good. Is that all?
May we speak to one of your servants on the way out ask who's taking care of. Basically, Rob is not articulating well. Is basically, hey, if we see one of your handlers on the way out, can we talk to them to find out if there are any habits or any idiosyncrasies that Lucy might have that might help us attract them? Obviously, she herself, being regal, would not have handled the beast, and so obviously we understand that this is beneath her. But can we talk to one of have Eobar connect us to one of the handlers, or for example, the servant that just left, if we could speak with them?
Yes.
Does Lucy know her name or something?
Jane.
Oh, I didn't bring up her name. She
No.
doesn't care.
Yeah. The one who is just here, Jane. She was Lucy's most recent handler and is quite lucky to still have her job after the mishap of losing her. But you may be able to find her. I think she cleans one of the bedrooms on the way back through at this time. You might run back into her.
Thank you.
Anything
we shall
else?
return with your kitten.
Good, thank you. And she kind of waves, expecting your retreat from her space. And Alyria goes, "Thank you, Lady Haverly. Lovely to be in your home. Not quite as large as the Danes, but still quite a pleasure." And she turns and walks. Anybody watching Lady Haverly just see her kind of tense for a moment and then glare at the back of the princess as she leaves.
So,
Once
we're at
yeah.
Yeah. So you guys make your way back through the maze, and
I'll let Kaimana.
yeah, the moment you're back in the greenhouse area, Eobard's there, and he says, "This way back to the front entrance. Anything that you needed on the way out?"
Yes, we were told that we could speak to Jane to pick up some tips for dealing with the kitten.
Oh yes, she will be this way, and he leads you back through that main hall.
Yes, ma'am.
And the last door on the left is the door is open where it was closed before. Hey, that's so loud, Ronnie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're yelling at Sully right in the middle of that. And so the door's open where it was closed before. And he motions in there, and you see him walk to the end of the hallway, but then stop. Like he's going to wait for you all at the end of the hall. But when you look in the bedroom, this is a massive space, probably like 20 feet across and 20 feet wide. And there's a large bed at the center. And the servant that you saw before is there dusting a large mantelpiece.
Just to retcon something, Kamana was saying that once we were out of earshot of Lady Haversham.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Kamana.
She is going to make so many wings to her house.
Yeah.
She's got to one up the Joneses.
The Danes. Keeping up with the Danes. Yeah.
Yes, Mar?
I don't have a lot of tact, but
Have you
that
met
was
me?
rough, gang. Wow. Wow.
So, we need to
I was
change
keeping
our...
my mouth shut.
You
Yes,
did.
our-
Hey, Kaimana, you did the best out of anyone.
Our goal of earning respect of the Patricians seems to have gone a bit awry.
Okay, hear me out, though. We could bring her back a displacer beast. Or we say we failed and free displacer beast.
I was
Free
thinking
the whole menagerie. Hang on.
Well,
I
that's
agree
what
with Kaimana. These animals are miserable in this place.
Well, that's what I was thinking, is that we would bring the displacer beak back, get our reward, and then, under cover of night, come back and release the animals.
No.
Now, I
don't
do
think-
want to acknowledge that there is a whole community here that probably would not love a bunch of beasts let out on their land. That seems problematic at best.
I wonder if the leash works on the other creatures. We could lead them into the house and let them free there.
No, I like that. That's pretty good.
We don't want to slaughter people. That is not our name. We are the ticket takers.
Did you see the way she was looking at me? Only
I
one
did,
other
which
person
is-
Yeah,
has looked at me.
she does want to put you in a cage for sure.
Yes.
I have seen that look before. That will not happen.
We should
And-
definitely
Or maybe
keep
she's
you and
just into
Kanhana
you.
away from her.
I mean, benefit of the doubt. Maybe that's just her type.
Do
We
you
don't
think
know.
she knows I'm a druid?
No.
No.
Just thinking maybe we could use that to our advantage.
Can you turn into the kitten?
No. I
Okay.
haven't seen it yet.
But once you do,
But something maybe that she'd be interested in. Giant
He's-
crab, maybe.
You saying that you would be the sleeper cell?
Oh,
Put you in
hey,
one of our cages, and then you could let the animals free?
Yes. Sorry, we couldn't find the displacer beast. Here's a bear.
It is an
uh,
option.
she might.
It's already trained.
Yeah. Think she'd be interested in, me? No, not like
No.
this, obviously.
Yeah, yes,
Oh.
I know what you mean. Do you want to risk exposing yourself to
I
someone?
mean, I don't know if
She's
like if I took the clothes off, I don't know if she'd recognize me necessarily.
and
Nah.
is that a risk we're willing to take? She's very rich, very powerful.
Well, I'm gonna go for a shit. I'm not gonna make good decisions today.
It's true.
Let us first secure the kitten, and then we can decide what to do from there.
Yes.
And by the way, the trainer girl who bought the kitty treats and the leash was trying to get my attention, so I suggest we find her when we get back to the house.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought we wanted to go ahead and talk to her. No.
Well, that's yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then,
Basically, we're
On the way.
red-hotting.
yeah. So that conversation happened as you guys are walking back through the maze.
Okay. All right.
That was a flashback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, can you roll an insight check on Alyria if she picked up on all the shit I was just talking about blatantly in front of her?
Yeah.
Insight check on her?
Yeah. Go
At
ahead.
disadvantage?
I was rolling to see what her perception was to see if she was paying attention. Yeah.
Okay. Not terrible. 14?
She heard all of it and doesn't seem phased, but heard everything.
Okay.
So you don't know if she like isn't phased because she doesn't quite understand the references you're saying, or she doesn't give a fuck.
I respect her either way.
Yeah. All right. So you get back and now Jane, the servant, is there. She's cleaning. The moment you enter in, she turns and she sees you and she goes, "Quick, is
We
Airborne
asked the
around?"
lady if we could talk to you to learn more hints about Lucy
Oh,
as a means of finding a way to actually speak to you with permission, so we wouldn't have to hide.
is Airborne
He's very
close
forward.
by?
He is down the hallway. We could have someone stand in the door to watch
I
him.
can go talk to him.
Oh,
Or just, distract.
distract would be good. Yes.
Cool. See ya.
So she reaches out to you, Soros, to shake your hand.
Yep.
Do you shake her hand?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm watching very intently this
The
interaction.
moment you shake her hand, you feel something pressed into your palm. And she just says, "Vox Populi remembers." And she pulls
Damn.
away. And she says, "Yes, what can I do with you about Lucy?"
Any particular hints of... We have her favorite food, which was brought, but is there anything else that attracts her attention? Does she have a favorite toy, singing, a particular other animal that she has an affinity for?
Well, she...
She respond to her name.
No, she doesn't. She does like this, and she kind of goes up to the mantelpiece, and there's a small bell there, and she hands it over. She said she likes the bell. If you ring it, if you ring it too much, though, she doesn't like it. So it's a balance. But she does like the sound. However, the forest, you might not want to attract too much attention, so be careful how much bell ringing you're doing there.
Yes. Anything else you can tell us about her?
Well, I've only been her handler for about 3 weeks, and 2 of those weeks she's been gone. Her previous handler was killed, quite horrifically.
By Lucy?
Yes, that's when we learned that if you unhook the collar from the leash, it
Leash.
sends her into a rage.
I'm just picturing the opening scene from Jurassic Park.
Yes. But Lady Haverly is not so concerned at that danger, so
It looks like she spares no expense.
she does not.
Do the other animals have the same collar and spell on them? Or is this unique to Lucy?
No, it's unique for Lucy because she's free to wander the grounds. Lady Haverly tends to keep her with her, and the leash allows her to command her and control. When Lady Haverly does not have her, then I do, or her previous handler would have.
How did she escape?
Well, I thought that I had tied her up, but I did not. And she seems to have somehow, without command, because that's how the spell works, she's given command. I went to sleep, and she was not given a command, so she had kind of free reign. And I don't know how, but she somehow managed to get the leash unhooked from the collar. And
Was
escape.
there any damage to the leash?
As far as I know, I haven't
Like
taken
scratch marks or something?
So she said, I actually didn't look closely at it before. If you want me to look at it, I can tell you whether it's in the same condition.
Yes, please.
And so she takes it, and it is magical, so any damage would be very, superficial. It kind of looks maybe that there's some scratch marks here that weren't there before, and she kind of shows you, like, at the front of the leash, there's a couple claw marks, yeah. But it is a magical leash, so any damage, it couldn't be destroyed, so.
Just wondering if someone had tried to free her.
That would make the most sense, but as I said, I was asleep, I'm not sure.
Thank you.
One other question, if I may ask.
Yes.
How did the servants of Lady Haverly transport the other animals to the estate?
Oh, Lady Haverly pays hunters to go out and find rare creatures. They bring the creatures here. The most recent acquisition was the Kelpie, which I believe she found from the Tidelands, and I can't remember the group. It was some sailors from the Tranquil Bay about a year ago.
They perhaps called the... Were they the crew of a ship called the Seablade?
That doesn't ring a bell.
Okay.
I don't know the crew. I just know that it was the representative was a sea elf.
A sea elf. Do you remember the name?
Uh, not not clear. She was very beautiful and quite young. I did not speak directly with them. I as in charge of Lucy, and Lucy was, you know, I was training with the other handler to learn how to handle Lucy, and she was quite young then and a handful.
Okay. Does the name Alorian ring a bell? Elorian?
Ilwarinen, is that what you're trying to say?
I don't know.
Perhaps. That does sound.
Do you know
familiar.
how you would get in? If Lady Haverly wanted more animals from that area, do you know how she would get in touch with those same people?
Oh, I don't know Lady Haverly's inner workings.
Okay, it is fine.
Anything?
Me-
I have quite a busy day of cleaning ahead of me. If there's nothing else I can help you with.
There's nothing else I can think of. Is anyone else curious about anything?
Thank you.
Thank you. And she nods.
And I take her hand
Appreciate your
and
time.
kiss it.
Oh, how kind. And you still feel whatever she handed you clutched in your hand.
Yes, and I have not acknowledged it or done anything like try and sneak it in my pocket. I've just kept it curled in my paw.
All right. She turns back to the mantle, and then you guys go out in the hallway, and Eobard is... How was the conversation with Eobard, Mar?
It's been great. I mean, really just... I've won him over. He's in love with me now. It's crazy. No, it's been Mar. I think what it would be is like Mar just aggressively talking at him about absolutely nothing as he just takes it, I imagine.
I just enjoy us walking down the hallway and kind of slowing down as we get closer just to watch how uncomfortable we can make him.
That's quite interesting about the buns, the
And,
Northwick
and
buns.
It really is what brought us together as a group. Now, let me tell you the story of how we got our name, because boy, is that a wild one. It all started
Marlo.
Ma,
Yes.
we're leaving. Get your buns rolling.
Great.
Oh,
Well-
I look forward to hearing the story some other time.
I take the bun out of my pocket. Eat this.
Oh, he grabs a handkerchief and takes the bun with the handkerchief.
That is one of the Northwick buns of which she was speaking. They really are that good.
Thank you.
But don't let the other servants see you eat it. They will want their own, and we did not bring enough for everyone.
Right.
Perhaps you should tell the lady of the house how good these baked treats are.
No, don't say
Yeah,
that.
next time
She'll lock
time
her up in here.
next time she has a catering gig, like a little get together and needs catering, you bring up those buns, okay?
Yes,
Uh,
it might be the boost that this small business needs to take off.
She's got a husband, she's gotta leave, okay? You do that for me.
I'll pass on the word. The exit here will take you back to the front of the house. The woods entrance, the fastest way would be to go to the back gate. If you follow, there's another path leaving the house to the left. If you follow that around, it'll go to the back gate. The servant there will be able to open it for you. Just show him the tag that you are going into the woods.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Amazing conversation. Can't wait to finish it.
Yes, I cannot wait as well. All right, and then you guys make your way outside.
I am not going to look at this or let anybody know that I have it until we are in the woods.
Okay, so you make your way back, and the path kind of curls around and heads along the side of the woods. Ronnie, mute. Mute. Thank you. Along the side of the woods, or along the side of the hill, kind of curving down, and there's a part where the really ornate wall structure that surrounds the whole estate kind of comes around this way, and you can see that it intersects with that tall rocky structure in the back, and this path seems to be heading towards the edge of that, and kind of further the down you go, you realize that you're heading towards a gate. When you get there, there's a man standing at the gate, and he kind of squints in your direction. Marty, you show him the...
Yeah.
Okay. He looks at that, and he nods, and then he goes over with a key and unlocks the gate and opens it, and he just says, when you come back, somebody should be stationed here, but if not, just there's a bell. Any points, there's a bell above the gate. He says, just pull this string a few times, and someone will come open the gate for you. Is that all?
We will ring the bell.
Yes.
If you hear screaming coming towards you, treat that as if the bell is being rung.
Right. I'll pass that on to someone else. Hopefully I won't be here for that.
We don't expect that to happen, but
Right.
just as a general rule.
Just as a note, that the path goes into the woods for quite a ways, but eventually the path stops. So you might be on your own at that point.
We have someone here from the deep woods.
Oh.
We will be fine.
That will be helpful. Right. And he kind of ushers you through, and the moment you enter in, you're surrounded by trees on all sides. This forest comes all the way up to the edge of this walled structure, and you can actually see that probably it's not too deep right here or too close, but about 100 feet further off in the other direction, you can see that there's a connecting wall that hits into the main estate wall and seems to be actually encircling most of this wood as far as you can see, going off out of sight. So it almost seems like not only is this on the estate, but it's walled off from the rest of the area, as far as you can tell. But heading into the Haverly Woods and the mystery of what's ahead, we'll go ahead and take our 10-minute break, and then we'll come back and see what's going on in these woods.
Thank
Yeah.
you, 10.
All right, thank you,
Ten.
10.
Going off headset.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, 10.
All right, welcome back from the break. So before we went on our 10 minutes, we had we guys headed into the woods for the Haverly Woods, and now
Is there
have the space
feedback?
in front of you. A little bit,
Not nearly as bad as it was.
not as bad as it
It's
was.
Yeah,
bearable
it's a
now.
lot better.
Yeah. Although now can everybody see everybody's mic or everybody's cameras?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird because like on mine, like Atwood and Ronnie are both like their cameras are not active. There they are. All right. So
I can
weird.
see everyone.
All right. Anyway, so you guys are heading into the woods in search of Lucy, the displacer beast. So the gate kind of closes behind you, and the woods are now in front of you, and the trees here are a little bit spaced out, but you can see not too far in the distance they get much tighter, and the canopy is very overgrown. This is immediately shaded from the sunny day that it was before you entered into this space.
I will read the note.
All right, so you open the note, and it says, talk to Devin at the gate when you return.
I share this with the group.
I mean, we were going to do that anyway, right?
Yes.
And do you
but
do you
I
tell
don't
us
think
like
quite the same conversation that we'll be having.
do you tell us about the Vox Populi thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Devin at the gate.
Well, we were planning to go check in on them after this, right? We have the time.
Yes.
I think
You're
so.
here
Yeah.
with Redleaf. Yeah. Good timing on that part.
Yes, we were going to. The game plan was to return the kitten today, head over to the town, do some hopefully get there by darkness, so that we could do some nighttime snooping to get the book away from the the warden, deal with them in the morning, and then hightail it back into town in time to catch the blimp out.
All right. Well, we're ready to track down this cat.
All right. So the woods here are unique and different from any other wood you've been in. It's almost like the trees were planted over a period of time, but then slowly began to kind of overtake this area or zone. And you imagine as an elf and an old family, they probably have had a long time to cultivate this space, but it has a very wild nature to it. It's a very unique or special wood. And so getting through the wood and finding the location of the space will be a group challenge. There'll be 4 checks. Each one will determine how accurate and how far you get into the woods and whether or not you're able to pick up on Lucy's path or tracks. And also will determine whether or not you run into any difficulties through the journeys. Yeah. So rather than...
And I recommend we hold off ringing the bell until we definitely get Lucy's track. We just don't want to do random, hey,
Yeah.
Boots here.
Yeah.
Did you pick up a Post-it while you were in here?
No.
Okay. I had a Post-it that just disappeared. Oh, well. All right. So you can have an option of having one person who does the D20 roll, which will be a survival check to make it through the woods, or we'll go through and each person will do a survival check. It's up to you, but it will change the DC on that, so it's good.
One person can we do one person with help?
Yes, you can.
Let's do
I
that.
can help Kaimana.
Okay.
Can you?
With
Yeah.
Deep Woods experience, Kaimana Druid. Y'all two tag teaming is the best way
I
to
got
do
you
this.
through the fucking deep wood. What do you mean?
You're taking disadvantages right now.
yeah, that's true.
Oh, I can.
That's why she's
Okay,
helping
if
you.
If you don't want my help, that's fine. Whatever.
No, I'll accept your help.
All right.
Okay.
So for the first check, Kaimana, go ahead and roll a D20 and add your survival bonus.
And is this with assistance?
Yes, and Mar, how are you helping him out with this first roll?
I would imagine which I would just be trying to get us to the center. So like using like just kind of vague navigational skills I have to just kind of like piece together where we're going and if we're keeping on the path and stuff like that.
Okay, so adding Mar's knowledge of traversing through woods to that, go ahead and roll with advantage.
14.
14. Okay. 14. That's below the DC cap. It's
Wow.
high. It's high enough that it moves you in the right direction. But I need Saurus. Go ahead and roll a D6 for me.
Oh, Jesus. Lay down.
3.
A 3. Okay. Let me check real quick. All right. So as you guys are traveling through the woods, I just need a marching order. I imagine Kaimana and Mar in the front, and then who's bringing up the rear?
I'll take
bring
the
up
rear. Oh,
I
okay.
figured
I'll
you
be in
and
the
the
middle.
princess would. I figured you and the princess would be in the middle, and then I'd be bringing up the rear.
Okay.
Okay. So Saurus in the back, everyone else in the front. All right. So as you kind of are making your way through the woods, there's that element of like cultivated nature. The further you get from the wall vanishes, and after a little 10 minutes or so trekking through, it begins to just feel like a woods, and whatever path was in front of you is broken up by fallen leaves and the detritus of kind of vines and different things that are kind of crossing over through the area. And at some point you kind of have to make a decision to as a path to go, and Mar says, with her guidance, is kind of saying, I think this is leading towards the center area, and eventually the walls and everything around you disappear and you're heading through. Saurus, as this is going on, go ahead and roll a dexterity saving throw for me.
17.
17. Okay, so there's a moment as you're kind of walking through where you come across a cluster of mushrooms, and they, Mar and Kaimana are focused on the path. They walk past them, not really paying attention. Alora is probably talking to Abel about some random whatever, and walk past. But there's what it goes by imperceptibly from the two focused individuals and the distracted ones is that with each step, these mushrooms look to be growing agitated. By the time you get to them, Saurus, they have activated it enough that they release a poof of pollen, a spore
Yep.
that kind of goes through the area, but you kind of notice the twitch and you jump back instinctually just in time that you avoid this cloud of spores, which kind of spread out. And all of you now notice this happen, and there's these mushrooms are just kind of quaking and shaking in the area, and then as you're standing still they slowly quiet down and then stop, and then the spores slowly drift to the ground and you feel like the danger has passed.
You will want to be careful where you step.
All right, so for the second round, who would like to aid Kaimana in his search?
I guess I'll aid him.
All right, how are you going to help him, Abel?
Now that I'm seeing that these spores are probably an issue, I guess I'll use my investigation abilities to just keep a close eye on vegetation. What I know about poisonous foliage, right? Things, some more of these mushrooms that might be, and kind of help him navigating so our group can avoid those types of vegetations that might pose a threat or might be dangerous to us.
Okay, roll an investigation check for me, Abel.
I have to roll it?
Yeah, roll it because I want to see how helpful you actually are.
Oh, okay. I guess that's fair. Okay, a 14 total?
14. Okay, so Kaimana, roll your survival check with advantage.
That is an 18.
An 18. So for the second leg of the trip, you managed to, with Abel's careful help, and Mar's still kind of looking for the center and guiding in that direction, you managed to avoid any other clusters of mushrooms. And it's interesting, the deeper you get into the forest, as I said, it's getting more wild. And so there's vines hanging from the tree and moss, and the path has completely disappeared at this point, but those clusters of mushrooms seem to be getting more common, but you're able to find kind of a weaving path through them, heading in what you hope is still kind of the central direction. There is a moment on this leg of the journey where you realize that hill that's on the back side of the Haverleys, that you've kind of started to intersect with it, and it's doing this slow fall, and you're walking alongside it as it goes, and so you kind of find yourself following its curve along with the forest. All right, good. So for the third leg, Saurus, how are you going to help Kaimana through this trip?
I assume that since we're in the wilds, there are birds around. I will use bee speech to get directions, or basically, it's yes.
Okay.
So
Go.
I ask for. I'm a man asking for directions.
All right, go ahead and roll an animal handling check to see how well you can interact with the birds.
First time for everything, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask directions. I know where we're going. It's fine.
Yes, but how we get there? What am I looking at? Animal handling.
Animal handling, yeah.
12.
Okay, and what do you ask you ask the bird just like the safest path towards the center, or what else do you ask? What do you ask?
I just ask where the center. Basically, with Mar and Abel helping pick the path.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, give me basically which way is north?
Okay.
Which way to the center is that way? So Mar and Abel figure out the best, and Kaimana figure out the best zigzag, it's bearing to we need to bear to our left. We need to bear to our right. No, we're going keep going straight.
Okay. Little conversation with the bird. Seems a little confused about the concept of what center is, but gives you directions as best it can. So Kaimana, go ahead and roll, not with advantage, but do add a +1 to whatever you roll.
That is a 16.
16. Okay. That's below the DC for the forest. So Saurus rolled already. And the deeper you go into the forest, the DC increases. Abel, go ahead and roll a D6.
Sure. Let me find it on D&D Beyond.
Unsolicited testimonial, folks.
They're not a sponsor.
A 2.
A 2.
Can I be the what's his name from that one show that I guess we can't really talk about?
No.
I want to do like the ads and stuff. All right, go ahead. It's
Sure.
a 2. I got a 2. I rolled a 2.
If someone else wants to do the advertisements at the beginning, they're more than welcome to. So a 2. All right. So as you're heading through this second leg of the third leg of the journey, deeper in, like the hill to your side kind of almost levels out a little bit, and so you're finding yourself in the shadow of this, and the woods are kind of surrounding you on all other sides. Picking your way as best you can. The bird does flit for a little while and lead you, but eventually gets distracted and disappears off into the distance. And so you just kind of making your guess, probably mostly following the hill's guidance. At some point, let's see, who's at the middle. So you guys are all kind of walking by, and Abel, you are distracted by Alora's conversation, and you're not really paying attention to anything. Go ahead and roll a perception check for me really quick.
Perception. I can do that for you. I got a +2 to perception. 19 + 2, a 21.
A 21. So as you're talking to Alora, there is a moment where you notice there's a very large flower nearby. Looks very interesting, like you've never seen anything like it before. And
I hate you.
As you're you get close and you're like, that's really cool. And go ahead and roll a dexterity saving throw with advantage. Because you did notice it, so you can roll with advantage. Yeah.
Seems you're not happy unless I open a vein.
How do I do that? Is that way you can like make it do it on? Oh, you can. If you right click on D&D Beyond, you can choose to roll with advantage or disadvantage.
Really, I didn't know that.
Promo! Oh my god!
I did not know that.
I know. I just was playing around and I figured it out. It's a 14.
A 14. So you, as you're kind of checking this flower, it is closed for a second, but then suddenly it opens very wide, and you feel two viney tendrils wrap around your shoulders and pull you towards the open flower, and you fall into it, and it closes around you. Everyone else so Saurus and Alora behind you see this, as Abel like tips into this flower and it disappears.
Well, it was a fun. No one.
So what are you gonna do?
Okay, we're in shock. Can I go try to cut? I'm not trying to like stab down with my rapier on where Abel probably is, but just like try to like cut the top off of the flower to see if I can like get an opening for him to pop out of.
Yeah, go ahead and roll a attack.
Okay.
And
Well,
Abel,
you said we didn't see it, right, Josh?
I imagine you heard the yell.
We make noise.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I have heightened senses, so I probably would have heard it at least.
Yeah. Well, with your disadvantage, who knows? But
well,
yeah.
I mean, natural 20 on this flower.
Oh my God, Abel! Marlowe's turn.
She
Uh,
saved my life.
He was eaten by a plant.
All right, so you swipe through the top of the flower and you cut off like the top parts where it's closed, and it kind of opens up a little bit, but it's still trying to maintain its hold on Abel. And Abel, you take 3 points of acid damage from the interior of the flower. Anybody else doing anything?
I grab one. Now that it's partially open, I grab one side and say, "Someone else grab the other," and I start prying it back.
Okay.
So
Can
we're
I
trying
reach-
to pry the jaws open.
Can
Okay.
I reach Abel?
So the flower is probably about 5 feet tall when it's finally like kind of put up there. So you could try to climb up the flower to get to the top if you wanted to.
I mean, just like, can I in through one of the openings and grab Abel's arm or something?
Well, the opening is at the top because the all the flower petals have closed.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
you're
is
trying
where we're trying to pry it open. Does it get a big enough opening for
Okay.
him to stick his claw through?
Alora will aid you. So go ahead and roll a strength or an athletics check with advantage.
Athletics with advantage.
Am I grappled? Like, can I do anything while I'm in there, or I don't know how?
You are
12.
grappled and restrained. 12. Okay, and Alora 18. Okay, so you and Alora kind of pull it down. So it's probably 3 feet now. So there's enough that Kaimana, if you wanted to, you could probably reach in and grab Abel. You see, like the back of his legs kind of kicking in the air.
I'm going to try to grab him
Okay.
and pull him out.
All right. Go ahead and roll an athletics check.
Athletics.
Yeah.
Can I assist in getting myself out?
No.
You're head down in a killer plant. There's not a lot you can do here.
I'm sure I'll be fighting like heck.
A 7. So you're trying to pull, and there's just not enough there's not enough leverage there.
Marlo, pull Kaimana.
Oh, if I make a strength check, guarantee it's not going to go well. Can I stick my rapier in just enough to try to give Abel something to grab onto? So
Sure.
he can kind of like pull out a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead and roll just roll a dexterity check to see if you can like maneuver it through without stabbing Abel.
Okay. 19.
19. Okay, so you get it down there. Abel, in the meantime, you take an additional 2 points of acid damage. But there is now something there for you between them pulling it apart and Mar kind of stabbing into the flower. You can feel like the flower is like not happy about all of this. It's like twitching or whatever. It loosens its grip on you enough that you could use all of this as leverage to try to get yourself out. Go ahead and roll an athletics check, Abel, to get yourself out of the flower. Unless you wanted to do something else, because you're now no longer restrained, so you could act against it. You're muted.
Oh, hold on. Sorry. So if I don't want to do the athletics, I can, roll an attack or something?
If you wanted to. It would be at disadvantage if it was a ranged attack, but yeah.
No. I think I'll roll athletics.
Okay.
I mean, it wouldn't be a ranged attack, because I would use my... hold on. 16.
16. Okay, so with the aid of Kaimana and with Saurus and Abel pulling this apart and Mar stabbing into the center of the flower, you're able to kind of push yourself out, and you slide off and collapse. The whole front of your white tunic kind of coated in this green, slimy, acidic. It's burning your skin.
Oh my gosh. It was horrible in there.
Okay. At that moment,
My flamethrower and just set it on fire.
so you activate your flamethrower. Okay. So for the next hour, it's active, and then you make an attack against it. Is it a dexterity saving throw for that?
Yep.
Okay. Takes full damage. So go ahead and roll damage.
Oh.
Because as he gets out, you all notice that like the vines at the bottom of the flower kind of raise up, and it seems to kind of start shimmying in the direction of where Abel has fallen, like it wants to go back to get seconds.
Bad plant. Bad plant.
I can't find... Oh, there it is. 7 damage.
Okay, and it is vulnerable to fire, so it takes 14 points of damage. And it kind of and like backs up and finds kind of a space between two trees and lowers itself back into the ground and opens up its petals and seems to be still, but there's like slight singe marks on it. You don't know if it's
Best to let sleeping plants slide.
all right.
Don't touch any of the plants. Is my advice.
All right, so you guys make a wide berth. So for the final of the 4 checks, let's see.
Princess?
Yeah, Alyria. Well, Alyria does not have a lot to aid. Let's see. She taps you, Kaimana, and she says, "I don't know much about the forest, but I believe this might help." And she casts guidance. So you may roll your nature check and then add a d4 to it.
Nature or survival?
So sorry, survival. Yeah,
There's a big difference.
yeah.
Add how much?
Just roll a d4 and add whatever the d4 is.
Oh, roll a d4 and add it to my die roll.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to need that. 10.
10.
That's not going to do it.
So, Mar, roll a
I'm
d
picking up the D6.
roll a d6
Don't
for
you
me.
5.
A 5.
I swear to God, if it's me again,
I don't know if we're getting there, gang.
Oh.
A 5.
We
All
don't
right.
find the kitten finds us.
Okay, so
Maybe we
as
should start ringing the bell.
as you all are making your way, you feel like you're making your way further towards the center of the forest, and there's a moment where that the hill has kind of evened out, and you start to see rocky exterior on the side of the hill. Like you almost feel like you might be getting towards like cave entrances or things like that. And go ahead and as the front of the pack, Mar and Kaimana roll perception check, or one of you can do it with advantage.
I'll roll.
Okay.
I have high wisdom. That's better. With advantage?
Yes, because Mar's helping you out. Yeah.
20.
20. There's a moment where you start to see, like, you could swear almost that there's something hanging from the tree that doesn't look like natural. It looks made. And you kind of see that. And then as you keep walking a little bit more, you see another one. And you're like, that mixture doesn't seem like it would happen naturally. And you start to look at them closer, and you realize the reason why is because they're made of bones. And there, you keep walking, and there's like another like a skull bone hanging with like a feathers hanging off of it. And then you get a little bit further, and there's another one, and there the amount is getting more and more prevalent until at some point you get there's a space
Are these
where
like hanging in the? Are these like hanging in the
yeah,
vines?
hanging up in the tree branches, yeah. And then there's a moment where you get to a space where the kind of forest forms a circle around what is an ancient tree stump. Like it looks like maybe the tree fell over in a storm or something like that, and just the large stump remains. And you get to the edge of this, and from a distance you realize like there's bones all around the stump of this tree, and there's more of those like ornaments and things hanging from what's left of the branches there.
If there's a rabbit, I'm leaving.
It's a killer rabbit. All right, so you've led the group here, so you can kind of like nobody else is seeing all of this stuff, just you.
There's some bad stuff around us.
Can you be more specific?
I'm going
Look up.
I'm going to point at one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you doing this? Are you letting them know quietly? Or are you letting them know like your normal voice or?
I guess I'll do it quietly.
Okay, so you're whispering, and so you guys all look up, and with his aid, you start to see like around you in the trees, at the edge of this clearing, there's 15 or 20 of these, like bones, various different bones, like small femurs, small like arm bones, you know,
It's just like all
horns.
wildlife that's been eaten.
Yeah, it looks like probably, you know, a lot of rabbits and maybe even small deer and things like that. And then like the bones are left over, and they're bound together with vine and then hanging from the trees.
So someone's decorated.
Yeah. And then the large tree at the center is covered in these.
I think we should go around.
All right. Go ahead and everybody roll a stealth check for me as you're quietly trying to exit from this area.
Whoa.
Mar with disadvantage.
Got ya.
Oh, and Alyria has to roll. Yeah.
18.
Okay.
17.
17. Abel.
15.
14. Okay.
14.
Yeah. And Alyria with a natural 1.
Well, why did
City
we not?
girl.
Yeah, city
Yeah,
girl.
city girl.
But overall, relatively solid. So you slowly kind of make your way around the outer circle of this, and you're kind of walking, and you feel like, okay, like we're good. Whatever was at the center of that clearing area, you've made yourself beyond it. About 5 minutes you're walking, and Saurus, with your natural perception, you hear a crack in the foliage above you. And with a 19 perception picked up on everybody's stealth, you glance up and see this immense creature, 10 feet in height, greenish colored skin, large muscular structure, ragged hair that kind of hangs like in its face with vines and the leaves and moss kind of dangling off of it. A creature that now that everybody, like when you glance up, Mar also looks up.
It's Swamp Thing.
There's a troll, and it is jumping out of the tree now in your direction, and that's where we'll pick up next week.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You're muted, Ronnie.
So no one wants to fight a troll, man.
No,
Kill it with fire.
the
We
five.
can talk to it.
The 5 was
I
the
think
troll.
it'll go well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll use our diplomatic skills, which we've established. We have that in spades.
Yep. On my little chart, my 5 was a troll, and I was like, oh, nobody's gonna roll a 5. Then Mar did.
Thank you.
More.
No worries.
That'll be a fun time.
Yeah, it's with Lady I keep wanting to call her Haversham because that's the mystery Haversham Manor from
Great
the play that
Expectations.
goes wrong.
Or that, yeah.
Play that goes wrong. So I keep wanting to say it, but
I keep wanting to say Lady Chatterley's lover.
but her having a menagerie and caging animals with my background. Source is a very calm, rational person, but he feels very strongly about this issue, and is a very pragmatic person with not the same morals and social moray backgrounds as everybody has. Has a plan to deal with this. We will see what happens.
All right. Well, I gotta get going, everybody.
All right.
Have a good one, Atwood.
Yeah,
All right,
see y'all
Atwood,
next
have a
week.
good night.
right,
Sully
thanks.
says bye.
Bye, Sully.